Go.
Hello, class. Good morning. My name's Shannon Ledbetter. My major is cybersecurity. I'm working on my AAS. I got another semester to go after this. My hobbies include, playing games, playing music, tinkering with little robot machines, computers and stuff. I'm gonna pass on the mic to my comrade, Christine.
Thank you, Shannon, of course. Hi, my name is Christine. My major is Network Administration and Management. I'm working towards an AAS. My hobbies are making jewelry. One of the things I plan on doing, once I get my bachelor's degree, is I'm interested in starting my own company. So I'm kind of old, so I'm not looking to start a job. I already have a job. I'm just looking to get more educated so I can start my own company. And I'm going to pass it over to Jameer.
Hello, my name is Jameer. My major is cybersecurity AAS. Hopefully I will be graduating this summer. Some of my hobbies are content creating, video editing, and I also have a Twitch channel in case y'all might want to take a look at some of the content that I make. And we are the Server Squad, and today we will be talking about a home NAS. So I'll pass that on to Shannon.
Yes, so home NAS, very useful. We have a nice introduction, that's going to be read by Christine here.
Okay, who's going to control it?
We got you.
I got it.
Okay. So basically what we're going to explain to you guys is what a Raspberry Pi is. So what is a Raspberry Pi? Basically, it's a microcomputer, okay, that you can carry around with you, and it allows you to have network access, create users, share folders, and install an operating system on it. That's basically what it is. So it's an affordable microcomputer. It's good for experimenting, and it's Linux-based, and it has an ARM processor architecture. So what is NAS? NAS stands for Network Attached Storage. It is a home data storage solution, and it enables multiple users with access levels, and it has centralized disk capacity access via LAN. These are the pictures of the Raspberry Pi. The advantages is it allows control over personal data. It accesses data from anywhere with port forwarding configured at the router. It has RAID compatibility, and it has fast transfer speeds of 3.0, USB 3.0. Open Media Vault is the interface that you use to access the Raspberry Pi. When you want to configure it, you have to have Open Media Vault installed on it. It's a free Linux distribution designed for network storage attached storage, web browser interface, and used to configure NAS. Based on the Debian operating system, which is Linux-based, developed by Volker Thiel in 2009. This is what you need to set up your Raspberry Pi. You need the SATA drive. Of course, you need the Raspberry Pi, and you also need network cables. But one of the most important things you need is the SD card. So,
Now, we will be talking about how to install the Open Media Vault. In the Open Media Vault, you need to download an image file for Raspberry Pi OS Lite. You'll find this on raspberrypi.com. You see here. Now, you also need to flash this Raspberry Pi Lite OS onto the micro SD card. If you don't do that, then it will not work. Some of the tools you can use is Rufus, Balena Etcher. You can also use Raspberry Pi Imager and Etcher itself. So after logging on to the Pi, this device, with a default credentials, you need to run the following commands. And some of these commands are the sudo apt update, the sudo apt upgrade, which will allow you to get this email and long input that also needs to run inside the Raspberry Pi, and then your sudo reboot, which will allow the Open Media Vault to open.
So for that, I have prepared a little video here. If I can. So my voice is not too loud. Hello, everyone. So I'm Shannon of Server Squad, cybersecurity major, little robot box enthusiast. So before we can get this network attached server running, there's a couple of commands that we have to run on the Pi itself to make sure everything's up to date. So first command you're going to want to use is sudo, sudo apt update. First command. You can see it's got to run a bunch of packages here.
So, Shannon, what are some of these packages that are downloaded here?
Well, you see it. So what this is, it basically just takes all of these packages from the main site and just make sure they're up to date.
So once this is done,
As you
you're
can
gonna
see,
want
like,
to run sudo apt.
It shows you the version value right here. So see, it went up 0.1. That's just to make sure it's current.
Make sure you click yes here.
Oh, sorry.
I know this all looks very complicated, but it's actually really easy. This is usually the first step you do before installing any kind of packages.
The reason I made a video is because if I was going to do this live, it would take a really long time.
Probably like 15 to 30 minutes.
Probably like 15 to 30
So that would
minutes,
that would take a majority of our presentation time. So we had to cut down some of that time so we can demonstrate how this actually works. As you can see, this is a 15-minute long video. So I guess he's gonna fast forward a little bit to get you up to speed on what actually happens and how the Open Media Vault is accessed.
Okay, here we go.
Alright, that's all done. Finally, we're gonna run our last command here, and this one is gonna be the one that takes the longest, because this is where we actually install this operating system, Open Media Vault. So the command looks like this. Just gonna click it from here. Perfect. And you're gonna run around this. Now, this will take a while, so maybe while this is running, you wanna get yourself a juice, some soda, maybe get a snack. Step outside for a second, get some sunlight.
So what this is doing is downloading this operating system from the GitHub lab. So this takes the majority of this video. So I'm gonna go ahead and fast forward this. I do want to point out that when I was doing this at home,
So once I get booted off the network, I'm gonna have to manually reset, but that does mean that we're completely finished with this and we can access Open Media Vault from the IP address.
so what I'm saying there is that I get booted from this shell because I'm running it through SSH. So that's not how we did it when we set up in the classroom today. But the reason that happens is because you're accessing it over the network. So when it does the automatic network reset, you're kind of kicked out of the SSH menu. But when that's all complete, you should be able to just take your Pi, which is all set up, type in the IP address of your Pi, and you should come to this screen here. Which is
41.
Wait, is it 41? It's 41.8. Whoop. Cool.
Right.
So this is the Open Media Vault login screen, and this is the interface you use to control your NAS. So let me go back to the PowerPoint real quick here. So we're gonna get into configuring the Open Media Vault. So to access Open Media Vault, you just do what I did. You type your IP address directly into your favorite browser. The things you need to configure within this interface You need to set up your users. You need to set up the file system, the shared folder that you want everyone to have access to, and then you also have to set up Samba share, which is how Linux will communicate with your Windows machine.
Hold on 1 second.
Sure.
If you don't have a file system, you won't be able to share any of the information that you want with other people on your server. No file
Yeah.
system, no users. You basically just have his hardware just not running any
Yeah.
type of software for you to share.
I'd like to think of it as like you can't build a house without a foundation. You know, that's what I like to say. I could explain step by step how to do this, but instead I'm going to show you because that's a lot easier. So I need a volunteer for this. Who?
Oh, come on up.
Come on up.
Come on up.
Oh, wow. Good, interesting.
Welcome to Service Squad.
How you doing?
Welcome to Service Squad.
So what is your name?
Emmanuel Freeman.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, sir.
Let's start there. We're going to create a new user here. So we have our previous users. So go ahead and type your name, fill in the information here.
Okay.
This is something a sysadmin would normally do.
Yes, we would normally do, but today we have volunteered to.
You don't have to put your email. Just go ahead and put your name.
Oh yeah, just your
and
name and
password.
Password.
Remember this.
Yes, remember this password. You're gonna need it.
Perfect. Now we're going to go ahead and save. We can also have options to add you to different groups here. We're just going to keep the defaults for this example. You got a space here. So why don't we just do a little underscore to separate it? We should be good. Perfect. New user. Next, we're going to want to set up the. With this, you have to confirm every
Oh yes,
single.
you definitely have to confirm. If you don't, it will
It
not
save your changes. So you have
will
to
not
confirm
save
everything.
any type of changes you make. So the user you create, the file system you make, all it will be for nothing if you do not confirm to save changes.
Mhm. So now we'll go to disks. I just want to show you what we have here. So this is the disk that's connected. It's a SATA drive with a 500 gig SATA drive, but we're gonna need to make a file system here. So let's go back to storage, file systems. You see there should be none here. Oh, this is an old one from when we did this last time. But let's mount a new one here. And we'll use SDA2. Little comment, just so people know. Cool. There you go, online. Now, this is a cool little feature here of confirm changes. You can go to the dashboard. This is like, you can set up your workbench to display information about, I'm gonna pretend like I didn't see that. One more time there. What does it say? But like, it's still there, right? That's not something that happened in my example.
And that's okay. Sometimes it may have a slight misconfiguration.
So let's just go to settings here and like, we can add whatever we want, like some widgets. We can see the file systems we have available. This is just so I can check to see what the issue is.
Why don't you let someone log in from their desktop?
Yeah, I'm getting there. So let's go ahead and check the file systems. Okay. So, mount. Okay, let's do one of these. Confirm.
Do we have a file system before, like already set up? That's
Mhm.
why it's
I think it's like conflicting.
okay. So it's conflicting.
So here's what we'll do to fix this. I'm gonna reformat the hard drive here. Real quick. My apologies, everyone.
No, that's fine. And if you do encounter, this is this will be like a little fix or resolution to this problem.
All you have to do is reformat your hard drive. So let me just... This should take just a minute.
Vladimir, explain what's happening. Why wait?
So right now he's reformatting the hard drive so that we can have a file system. Like we said earlier, without this file system, you won't be able to save any type of information. Without that file system, you know, no
Can't share no files.
no
Can't create
information,
users.
no users. You would have to resort back to square root one.
So you have to reformat.
Okay.
Because it wouldn't allow us to save the file that he created.
So let's try this again.
So now that he has reformatted the hard drive?
Okay.
Yes, now that he has reformatted the hard drive, let's see if the file system actually does save this time.
Do you mind hitting refresh on the window there?
Yes.
Battery's low.
Okay, you want me to hit refresh one more time?
Yes, please. What did you do? Okay, now try.
Oh,
Sorry about that.
no, you're fine. Just minor technical difficulties, that's all.
Stop. You have to stop it first. Refresh.
I'll take out the file altogether.
Okay, hold on.
Just takes a second to load up.
41.8.
Yes, sir.
Alright, here we go.
Let's try this again here. Cool. So what I'm guessing is that something changed and it can't read it. So what I'm gonna try to do here is mount a new file. So we'll go to storage, file systems. We'll go ahead and mount says it's online.
So what do we do about the missing blank NTFs?
Yeah. For that one, I think the issue is that it thinks that should be this.
Right.
So,
So is there any way we can get rid of the missing the missing NTF drive?
to do that, we'd have to reformat this disk or edit this. See, it says it's not found. So what we can do is go to network, storage,
Is there any way we could delete the unknown file?
Yes, but we'd have to reformat the card, the SD card itself, which we could do. Just might take a second. How about this? Let us go to, it was just working earlier. Okay, what about this? Delete shares. Storage, file systems.
So we've never encountered this problem before when we ran our first run through. So maybe we can continue with the presentation,
Yes.
even though it does not work.
I can get it to work, but what should happen is you should be able to access it by going into your // sort of this menu, and typing in the IP address of whatever the device is, which is, in this case, 10.10.41.8. It's probably going to say it's not available.
Right.
Okay. So what we could do. Wish this worked. Anyways, so you can configure your, and after you configure your home NES, you log into it. You'll be able to use your username to log into it.
So that username would be
It'd be one of our names or
his.
your name. So
He would
when
use
it works.
his username and his password to log in.
Exactly.
Right.
To open media.
Yes.
Vault.
So in conclusion, the home NAS is an elegant solution. There are some minor faults with it. As you saw, the file system did not save whatsoever.
It's usually when the onus is on you to configure it, there can be errors.
Right.
When the onus is on a third-party organization, it's usually a little more reliable, I would say.
Right.
It is a fun experiment.
Yes.
To get it to work.
Definitely a fun
Yeah.
experiment to try. As you see, there are some faulties, but you can work those kinks out along the way.
And this is our bibliography. Just let me try one more chance to see if I think I have one
Sure.
idea to try to make this work.
So what idea do you have to try to make this work?
So I think the issue is that this thinks that this is a different
So the
card.
Raspberry Pi thinks that the SD drive
is a different card.
is a different card.
So let's turn it off.
Get a little closer, Christine and Jameer can ask questions. Go on. So Tyler, first question for the group. What did you learn from this presentation?
Okay. So is the media software, the operating system that you installed, does it dual boot with the Raspberry Pi operating system, or does it just boot on its own?
It's like installed on top of it. So
Right.
it's like they're both Debian based operating
Yeah.
systems. So it's like the Raspberry Pi Lite OS and then Open Media Vault on top of that. If that makes sense.
Andrew, what did you learn from this presentation? Any
So
questions?
when you run the command, what do you have to do exactly?
Well, you have to type in sudo apt upgrade first. This will run the packages. Then you type sudo apt
Sudo update,
sudo update.
sudo upgrade,
Upgrade.
sudo update.
Well, you also have to have this long widget command, which is probably hectic for you. And then you type sudo reboot. Now sudo reboot allows it to finally enable for you to be able to log in as the admin and your password and have the open media function.
Good.
So those are the 4 commands you would need to flash it onto the Raspberry Pi and stuff like that in OS.
Glenn, your thoughts on the presentation?
Just my thoughts.
Yep.
I think you guys did a good job so far. Even though it didn't work, it's still a solid presentation.
Well, the whole thing did not work.
Right, it worked early this morning, but for without a reason, by God willing, it said no, it's not working today. But everything happens, mysteriously. So.
Well, and also we were able to log into the OMD.
Right, and then we also ourselves, when he built to the Raspberry Pi, we were able to make our own credentials and share files between one another
Right.
on the media vault.
And one of the things that was supposed to happen was you guys could sit at that desk right there and log into this ODM.
Right,
But-
you yourself could have logged into the OpenM.
Right.
Sergio.
I thought it was a pretty good presentation overall. I really like seeing the actual physical, being able to log in and stuff like that. Presentation from all of you guys is actually really good as well. My only question is, what version of Raspberry Pi is that?
Great question.
Or
It is a Raspberry Pi 4, 2 gigabyte.
Okay.
So
it comes in 3 gigabytes. It comes in 1 gigabyte, 2 gigabyte, or 4 gigabyte.
yeah. They also have the 8 gigabyte one, which is a little harder to find.
And
What is it? 1010.
41.8.
what case are you using for it?
Oh, the case itself. You can find them on Amazon. It's like a it's like a random one that I got, but it's pretty sweet looking.
You like it?
Jose, question.
What's the cost of building it?
What's the cost?
You can get all of this equipment for under $100. Like I literally ripped the hard drive out of my laptop.
So it's saying it has a change.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna ignore that. But what we need to do is go to storage, disks. Okay. Go to file systems. It still pops up there, so that's annoying, but let's see if I can mount it. I think that this will work, right? Apply. See what's strange is now. Wow, that's
Samir?
unfortunate.
Thoughts on the group?
Definitely.
I thought their presentation was really good. I like that you used the video to compromise for the amount of time that it was going to take, and you also explained it as you were going through it. So it's not like you just skipped through about 20 minutes. So I thought it was really smart.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Real nice. Ethan.
I enjoyed your presentation. I'm glad that you all made yourselves knowledgeable on the topic rather than just being like,
Standing
okay,
here.
well you do one thing, you do another thing. You all knew clearly what each other were doing and what
Yes.
well, what the actual project was rather than just being like,
Yes.
yeah, this is your job, this is your job. Question. How would you, if you could give me a quick rundown again, how would you sell this to me as why I should use a Raspberry Pi NAS like this?
Great question.
Because you're a student in school and it's cheap.
Okay.
Not just that,
That's an issue.
it's portable. So anywhere you go, as long as you have an internet connection, you can literally save data from any type of workstation or file station, whatever you may come across.
Okay.
That was just for humor. I was trying to be humorous.
No, but it is a logical reason.
To be
Like-
honest with you, and doing research on the history, it came out for younger people because it was so affordable.
Yeah.
And it started in 2006. But it's based overseas, so it's not that easy to get.
My follow-up is what's the best way to compensate, because you have to use, part of the advantage of its portability is that you have these mini hard drives, but they're not necessarily the biggest storage devices. What's the best way to compensate for that?
Get an external hard drive.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
what we used is a 500 gig SATA from an old laptop, but there's definitely more solutions that you can get, say if you wanted like a terabyte or something,
Yeah.
if you needed more space.
Yep.
I think part of my issue is that the partition for the actual SD or the SATA drive is messed up somehow.
Right. Somehow, randomly, it just messes up
Yes.
when we present. This morning we did
It works fine.
Right. This
Works
morning we did
fine.
a drive-through. Worked perfectly. We were able to log in. We were able to share files. But I mean, some things sometimes it happens. So.
Nick?
Well, it was very interesting. You all know what you're talking about, obviously, and I thought watching you guys have to kind of troubleshoot mid-presentation was definitely interesting.
He's saying it's definitely interesting.
And how would you, you guys, your group, would use this as a troubleshooting for your own presentation? How would you go about doing that?
How we troubleshoot the issue?
Yeah, like how would Nick and Ethan and Demir go about?
I think the best thing to do is to run a test and,
First
first
and
and foremost.
which we did this morning, but unfortunately this did not pop up to our
I
expectations.
was not reading it at all.
What's my checklist? What do you think the error is?
I think the error is that this SD card, you know what we could do? Here's what I'll do instead. You don't necessarily have to use the SATA. So if I replace the SATA with like just an SD card or something. Why don't we use
The actual SD card.
just like a micro USB, like a USB or something? This is my final solution.
Okay, Freeman, questions? Yep. Thoughts?
It was a nice presentation. Even even if they had a little problem, y'all stayed like powerful and collected and kept going. And y'all walked us through the process of everything y'all was doing. And then y'all volunteered. He was like really good up there.
We really did want you to volunteer because it would have been so nice. You would have probably did whatever file system you wanted to save and share. Probably sent it to Noma or anybody you had in mind.
Yep.
Honestly, they would also have to create a user as well, but
Right.
still, it would have been really nice. Especially in the certain area you're in. So.
Mark.
Hi guys. Alright, so I love the presentation. I'm the type of person I love to see it live, and live in front of my face. But I mean, I'm not gonna hold it against y'all. You feel me? Things happen. But yeah, I love the presentation, the information y'all gave out. I would love to mess around with the Rasberry Pi now, just with the information you gave.
Nice.
Thank you.
Thank you. Noah, final thoughts.
Again, I really did like your presentation. It did get quiet at times. From reading the board and turning back, it was kind of
Thank
hard
you.
to hear
Right.
at some points. I can I guess put the blame on the mask, but it was pretty hard to hear a little bit, just a little bit. However, I did like that when you guys were having problems, it got a little bit silent, but you were able to I noticed Jameer was able to fill up some
Yep.
of that.
Right,
quiet
because I
time.
knew, knowing that you have a presentation and this is something big, you're talking about a device in front of thousands, maybe hundreds of people. I know you're probably nervous, but breaking the silence does help.
I agree.
Whether it be explaining something, a little bit of detail, be a side comment, you're trying to work on the fly. So troubleshooting, okay, well let me talk about what he's going to do to try to fix this problem, because this could be something you can encounter here and now or later on. We have the solution for you to fix it right here and there. So
Yeah, I just like how you were able to at least pull out a little bit more information for the audience while you were trying to fix things, get things together.
these are some ideas that I have when I'm working on Twitch or YouTube.
Yeah.
I know that I'm going to encounter these things, but I know having that mindset of, okay, I have to say something, I have to make it entertaining, because if you just sit there with a stone face, people are going to leave. People are not going to feel entertained. People are not going to be invested in what you talk about, whether it be something funny, whether it be something relatable. It's just a good practice to have, a good mindset to have.
Yeah. So, in order to get this to work, the very last thing I would do is to wipe the SanDisk, like wipe the micro USB card, start from scratch, and it would probably work. But we don't have the time limit for that. So unfortunately, I'll have to leave it open-ended on this one. And maybe we can come back another day.
Another day and show
how it
you,
works.
yes.
Yeah.
Give a round of applause for the group.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.